Oh, welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a while. I've been working on a little Freddy project video and it's taking longer than expected. So I'm putting that on the back burner for a minute just so I can get some updated videos out for you guys. If you follow Freddy on Instagram and also here on YouTube, then you would have seen some either reels or short videos. And Freddy got hold of some THC recently, which was in a hand cream that I own, and essentially I put some hand cream on just before bed, and I didn't want to put the lid on, like screw the lid on, because I didn't want to get the container covered in the hand cream, otherwise everything gets really slippery. So I left it on the floor next to my bed, went to sleep. In the morning I've woken up, gone downstairs, let Freddy out. I'm making my coffee, he's come upstairs and he's flicked the lid off the hand cream and he has licked some. Not a lot, so I wasn't overly worried. By the time I got to work, Freddy was his usual self. A little bit sleepy because it was still the morning time. He was curled up in the car in a blanket and he looked absolutely fine. Obviously I was aware that he had ingested some of this hand cream, so I was checking on him more than I normally would have, and I'm glad I did, because within 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, he was completely out of it, and I can laugh about it now because he's okay, but at the time it was really scary. There's not a whole bunch of information online about the effects of THC with a dog. Obviously it's not good for them, as it's not exactly good for humans either. But he couldn't hold his head up, his eyes were just like, he wouldn't blink, his mouth was open. I thought about calling the vets, and I was just like, I think I'm just going to monitor him myself. So I did exactly that. I pretty much sat with him for the majority of the day, and he did progressively get worse and worse. He wasn't able to stabilize himself, which also meant he couldn't go for a wee and he couldn't go for a poo, which did worry me, because after he ingested the THC, I fed him some more because I thought the food would like absorb it and the side effects wouldn't be so bad. But obviously I didn't know that he wasn't going to be able to stabilize himself later on in the day, again meaning that he wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom. I was doing loads of research, and then I thought hydration in these situations is really key. So thankfully I had a little syringe. I always keep syringes and needles because they're really handy for ticks and also situations like this, which I've experienced before. So the syringes are good for like putting water in them and putting it in a dog's mouth. It's the same situation with some dog medicines as well. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So I was doing that with water, 5 mils of water, just as often as I could. Obviously I was bearing in mind that he couldn't stabilize himself for a wee, but then sometimes Freddy does wee like a female dog anyway, which is a bit more stable, if you know what I mean. It's not like he's trying to cock his leg and stand on 3 legs. So I wasn't so worried about him having water. Later on in the evening he was still really bad. Couldn't really stand up properly, he was wobbling all over the place, but his mouth was now shut. He could shut his mouth, which told me that there was an improvement. Throughout the whole day I was keeping on his body temperature, because they can have body regulatory issues where their organs can like start shutting down, and all of this nasty stuff that I kept reading online. So I was just making sure he was hydrated, making sure that he was warm, and when we finished work, got home, I picked him up out of the car, and I've got clips of this stuff as well, which will be overlaid on the video. And I just put him on the floor, and he stood, and he was really wobbly. But he just started doing a wee. Like, he obviously just released this wee, which was such a relief for me because, well, for obvious reasons. He then managed to walk himself to the front door of the house, which was amazing. Again, showing me that he was improving. And when we got in, he just went straight to bed. And again, I just wrapped him up, made sure that he was warm. I didn't give him any food. I didn't give him any dinner. I just continued with the 5 mils of water just to try and hydrate him. I continued my research throughout the day, and I saw that coconut water can be good for hydration. So I went ahead and got some of that. And that, surprising to me, it helped him really quickly. Like, his eyes seemed a little bit more alert, like within 45 minutes to an hour of giving him this coconut water. Usually he sleeps downstairs on his own. And on this occasion, I thought I'm going to bring him up. He can stay in the bed with me just so I can continue to monitor him, make sure that he's wrapped up and he's nice and warm. As I was going to bed, he jumped off the bed, and I was like, what's going on? Because he hasn't really been able to stand up all day. And thankfully I didn't get any footage of this. At the time, it was just disgusting. He vomited, and there must have been about 2 litres of sick. Oh, the smell, the quantity, because he had had tripe and beef and chicken and fish for like breakfast, and there was a lot of it because he hadn't been to the bathroom, and it all just came up. And when that happened, I was just like, praise God, because I was going to give it another couple of hours, and then by a couple of hours I mean see what he was like the next day, and if he was still the same, I was going to have to go to the vets, which I try to avoid doing. But when he did this sick, I was just like, yeah, thank goodness for that. And pretty much as soon as he threw up, he was back. And he was just like, can I have some dinner now? You know, he wanted to go out, he did a poo, and it was amazing. It was such a huge turnaround. So ultimately, I don't know. Obviously, time helped. The coconut water definitely helped. So if you're watching this because your dog has just taken THC and you're worried, try the coconut water, maintain their body temperature, just make sure they're warm, basically, and keep them hydrated. If you haven't got syringes in stock, I definitely advise you just going online and keeping them in your pet inventory. Needles as well, they're always very handy. Yeah, the whole experience, very scary. I'm ashamed at myself for making this mistake, because as a dog owner, I should be more responsible. It's one of the problems of having a dog that will literally eat anything. But I think this most recent experience has taught me my lesson. Nothing goes on the floor. Nothing even goes on this desk because he can reach it. Just behind where the camera is, there's like a 5-shelf high cabinet. So I just put everything on there now because he can't reach it. But yeah, if you're watching this video and you're going through a similar experience right now, try not to worry too much. Make sure the dog is warm. Make sure the dog is hydrated by any means necessary, and just monitor the dog. Do not leave the dog on their own. If you need to go out and work, stay at home. Call in sick. Stay at home just so you can monitor the dog. If you are really panicked and you can't monitor the dog yourself because it's too stressful for you, that's fine. Just take the dog to the vet and let them take care of it. But ultimately, let this be a lesson to all of us, and just try to be better moving forward. Speaking for myself here, because this isn't the first time I've made this mistake, and every single time it's just as scary, and it's horrible to see your little angel, your best friend, in such a vulnerable situation that you're at fault because of, it's really nasty, and I don't want to go through that again. So everything is staying in drawers, everything is staying up high. Isn't that right, Freddie? He's just off screen staring at me now. He'd eat it again today if I let him. He'd eat it again because he'll never learn. I used to say I'll never learn, but I definitely have learned my lesson this time. If you are watching this video and you're currently going through this situation, please feel free to comment below. I will help advise in any way that I can, based purely off of my own experiences. I'm not a vet, I'm not a doctor, so what I say is only things that I've researched that you can probably find yourself online. But they are things that have seemed to work for me with Freddie. Not a very enjoyable video, this one, but I hope you found it useful, a little bit educational, because I don't want anyone to have to go through what Freddie and I went through just a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll see you very soon.